Welcome to Conversations with Klana, made for the modern woman who wants to raise her self-esteem, increase her satisfaction, and build happy and loving relationships with herself and others. More and more, women feel they have lost their spark and the connection to themselves and miss deep intimacy in their lives. Rather than accept a life that doesn't shine, they want to change to one that does. Join the conversation each week when Klana and her guests explore practical ways and positive solutions to living a new, authentic life based on self-love, connection, harmony, and joy. Now, here is your host, transformation catalyst, author, and speaker, Klana.
Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Klana. And today I am happy to have Kris Prochaska here. And a few words to her. Sharp wit, sharper intuition, and Kris's 20 plus combined years of experience as a therapist and business consultant help her laser right to the root of an issue and provide her clients effective and practical solutions. She brings a fun, fresh, and energetic point of view using the tool of human design. Kris is a certified human design business consultant and instructor, and she's also a TEDx speaker and coach. Welcome again, Kris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Klana. And I love that you pronounced it. In the U.S., we say Prochaska, which is very, but it is a Czech last name. My husband's Czech, his family's Czech, so I love that you said it that way. So thank you.
European.
So
I'm nearer to the Czech than you.
You are. Yes, you are.
Okay, so lately I stumbled over human design again. It used to be too complex for me. This is why I put it aside. And I attended a few of your little webinars. And this is the way how we met online. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I want to have this woman here on my podcast. And thanks for saying yes.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let us know a little bit how you made it to work with human design, or who you are, what you are about, and what you want to share with us.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned that I am a therapist, and I have my master's degree in psychology, actually in existential phenomenological psychology, which is a big mouthful, but really just talks about what is the experience of being human. Why do we feel anxious? And we feel, the existentialists, of course, said we feel anxious in the face of our own imminent death at any point in time, right? So it really is, for me, and always has been, about how are we living our life, and what are the things that when we're blocked from living our life, create this disorder, or these ways of thinking and being in the world that create anxiety or depression, or whatever is going on. And there's certain things that are biochemical. We know those things are biochemical. I'm not talking about that. I am talking more about the existential and energetic things that, take us off track, and they don't feel good, and they have us be stuck. Well, about 8 to 9 years ago, I don't even remember now, I had a private practice, and at that time, I was doing a lot of energy psychology, tapping, EFT, all of that stuff. And I was sitting on my couch like all the time. I was moving from doing therapy to more coaching. And of course, I had a lot of fears about that. And I had a lot of, they're very different industries. And so I had a lot of things to overcome, and beliefs. And so I was doing a lot of work, sort of, why can't I get this? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? How many of us can relate to that question? Like, there must be something wrong with me. Everybody else gets it. I can't get it. And at some point, and of course, my clients came to me because they said, well, what's wrong with me? And I was like, well, let me tell you. I was really good at doing diagnostics and being able to say, well, this is probably what it is. Let's fix that. And at some point, I realized that we're never going to freaking be done. Like, there's as soon as you fix one thing, another thing comes up and another thing comes up. And so at some point I had this aha that we cannot make someone or anything all right by focusing on what's wrong. We have to focus on what's right. And at that time, I didn't know how to do that. I was totally trained to figure out what's wrong and come at it that way. And about that time, I was introduced to human design. It found me, I found it, whatever, it fell into my lap. And this was immediately, I could see, even though I looked at it and I was like, this looks like Chinese. I don't even know what this is. Like, what the heck is this? And my natural skeptic, the scientist in me, said, okay, this is just kind of strange, but there was something energetically about it that pulled me to it. My sacral was like, I don't know what this is, but and I started studying it and I realized this is how I can show people what's right about them. And I can also show why there's challenges that come up, because we have challenges inherent in us, inherent in our design. There's a gift in our design and there's a challenge in our design. And they're the same thing, but just different frequencies and different awarenesses. And so it's not about fixing anything. There's nothing wrong. And that started my journey. And so I've just been studying it. I've been practicing. I've been using it with my clients. I got extra degrees. I decided to teach it. And it is so powerful. I've used it with my own family and relationships and personally in business and, teams, all kinds of different ways. But that's really how the sort of the impetus for it and how I use it.
Yeah. And I found it interesting, or find it now, very, very interesting, with the little information I have already about my own chart. I got a reading here in German. And now a lot of things are changing at this very moment. I'm rethinking what I'm doing in my business and integrating long forgotten gifts that I have back into it. And it's not yet really ripe. It's still somehow cooking, but it's really interesting and got some things moving, into a new direction.
Yeah. Well, and I want to say something. So I tell people this all the time, is that our design does us, not the other way around. It's not something that we learn about in order to be more us, although that will happen. It's more that our design is it's who we be all the time. And we're either in alignment with that, where we're just in the flow and the ease and expressing the gift, or we're in the challenge where we keep trying to be someone we're not. We keep trying to be like everybody else, or we call that the not self or the conditioning. And we're basically living out the energetic patterns of everybody else around us. But we will always go back to and defer to our own, energetic pattern that we were born with. And so, what we were just talking about right before we hit the record button is that there's certain things that you're really pulled to. I mean, your intuitive knowing is huge. This is part of your conscious sun. It's part of what you're here to share in the world, is your intuition. And so that it just gives us this template for going, oh, that's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to share. That's part of what I be in the world. And when we're doing that, it's easy. It's, it's not always, it has ease. It doesn't mean life is always easier. I should say that. It just means that we have this sense of, okay, I know that that's happening around me and this is tough right now, but I trust myself implicitly, and I'm going to live true to myself, and trusting that process will bring us exactly what we need and want in our life.
Yeah. So. And for me, especially that part opened my eyes to how I'm working now with my clients, because I always said, everybody in the online marketing world tells you it has to be like this and like this, and I felt all these resistances, and this is why I couldn't get it going somehow.
Yeah.
But when I'm working with my clients one-on-one, I said, that's exactly it. I never prepare. They
Yeah.
come here
Yeah.
and we are working with what's happening. And that's exactly what happens here in my podcasts too. My guests, usually we don't talk about what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe just the general outline that they don't talk about cars when we're,
Right.
yeah, some things like that.
Right.
But everything else is unfolding. And what I've learned now with the human design is I am a generator, and that's exactly typical for this type of person I am. That generator is responding on what's coming up on the other side. And
Yes.
I heard that, it was such a relief. You cannot believe.
Yes, exactly. And I'm also a generator, and that when I learned, there's certain things that when we understand that that's just how we operate, it's a mechanics, it's how we're mechanically designed for our energy to flow. And that can sound kind of cold. Like people go, well, I'm so much more than a machine. It's like, well, we're 100% human, and we're 100% spirit. We're 100% of both. We're not spiritual beings having a human experience. We're 100% human and 100% spirit. So we have this 100% spirit lives in a physical body, and the human design shows us the map of what that body looks like, and the intelligence. It's not just a meat suit, although Ra would call it a meat suit. It is. It's like we have this suit that we're wearing, but it has this incredible intelligence that is innate in it. And that's what our human design shows us, is what is the intelligence that is the body, and what's the intelligence that is the awareness that inhabits the body, and how do they come together, and how do they work together in a synthesis. And it's so it's like the only thing I've ever seen that maps the unconscious. It literally shows us what the unconscious is doing and feeling and saying and behaving. And when we understand that, we can go, oh, well, that's why I do those things. And again, those are the things that we usually judge about ourselves or judge about others. And then when we, for myself, when I found out, oh, that's just how I operate. It's not an excuse. It's not, there's nothing to overcome. It just simply is. And with that, I can choose to override that. I can choose to do something different, or I could choose to just let it express the way it expresses. And that, the latter one, the one I just said, is letting it express itself, is like, oh God, I can relax. I don't have to work so dang hard, Yeah. And that's really so caring of and honoring of ourselves and others.
Yeah, exactly. And how are you mostly working with business people, or what are your clients?
Yeah, my clients are most of my clients are have their own business, and but many of them have families as well, because I work mostly with women. I do work with both, but mostly women. Right now I'm focusing more on generators. So I have something called a builder revolution, which is, builders are generators in business terminology, and express builders are manifesting generators. So it is a program just for us, because we're 70% of the population. And here's something cool, is that our energy templates the energy for the planet. So generators literally are generating the energy for the planet. And when we're using it in a healthy way, that's what's rippling through the whole planet. And when we're not, that's what's rippling through the whole planet. And frustration is how we know we're off track. Well, look at the world. How many people are just frustrated in the way they're working and the way things are flowing, and just frustrated with life in general? Well, a lot of that has to do with us generators who are not operating, and I use air quotes around correctly, but in alignment with the way our energy really is meant to flow. And when we do that, it ripples outward. It literally has an impact on the planet that is so huge that, oh God, it just gives me all the feels like when I start to talk about that. But anyway, I digress. I also work with, businesses. I'll work with teams, families. I work with a lot of couples and families as well. So it really kind of depends on what somebody's bringing. But when I work with people one-on-one, I will often cover all areas of their life because that's how it works,
Holistic being.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah, great. Could you please, for the listeners who are not familiar with human design, we talked only about the generator. Could you please briefly say what else is there?
Yeah.
And what you just said is logical, because if the generators and the manifesting generators are 70% of the population, that we influence that world, it's logical result of that.
Exactly.
But who are the others?
Yeah. So the others are, I'll say this, that the generator types, or what makes us a generator, a manifesting generator, is that the sacral center is defined. If you have it on your chart, if you look at your chart, it's a red square. It's the second square from the bottom, and that's the sacral. And if you have it colored in red, you're by definition a generator. That means the other roughly 30% of the population have it white. And so who are those other folks? Well, we have the projectors. In business, we call them advisors. And the projectors are about 21% of the population. They're very diverse. We have they're actually the most diverse type as far as what kind of projector they are and how they make decisions and all kinds of stuff. So they're a very rich and diverse group, and they're here to guide us generator types. So, but they have to wait to be invited. So you mentioned earlier that we generators have to wait to respond, that our life is about responding. And that's true. We wait, we respond. We are very magnetic. We pull things to us to respond to. Well, the projectors are here to see kind of through that and guide us and guide our energy, help guide our energy, but they have to wait to be invited. So if we're not inviting them to do that, they're like standing there going, wait a minute, what the heck is going on here? So I've worked with a lot of projectors or advisors in their business, because marketing, when you have to wait to be invited, is a very strange thing, but it's not impossible. And so as a generator type, I can often guide them and say, here's what will have us listen to you. What you're doing over here will have us ignore you completely. But if you do these things, we'll hear you and we'll listen. The next type is the manifester, and a pure manifester. So a manifesting generator is like a blend of a manifester and a generator. And so the pure manifestors, we call them innovators in business, and they're about 8 to 9% of the population. So pretty small percent of the population, but they're here to initiate and get things started. So if we're here to respond to things, the manifestors are here to come in and sort of get things going. And they have a lot of sprinter type energy. They're not here to do the long haul rowing the boat. They're here to get the party started, and then we generators provide the energy to keep it going, right? And then, and they have to inform before they act. That's their strategy. They have to let us know that they're coming in and they're gonna initiate us. And when they do that, we have something to respond to, and it really just minimizes miscommunication. Really think about all of these as it's communication. They're energetic. These are not about the personality of the person. It's about the energy. It's a map of our energy. So the last type is the reflector. And in business, we call them evaluators, and they're about 1% of the population. They're very rare. Like I just think of them as like a diamond jewel that is so beautiful. And they're here to sort of let us know, how's the environment going? Often they're called the canary in the coal mine, which is, in mining here in the United States, they'd send a canary down there. And if the canary didn't come back out, they're like, well, it's dangerous down there. We can't, nobody can live down there. But if the canary came out, it would be like, oh, okay, it's safe enough for us to go down there. There's enough oxygen. And so they are really here to let us know about the environment and the health and well-being of the environment. They're here to sort of evaluate, not judge, but evaluate, how are we doing? How are we doing here? How are we treating each other? How are we treating the planet? What are their observations of that? And I have a few reflector clients that I've worked with over the years, and they're just, what a beautiful group of folks that are unlike any of the rest of us. And so really helping them understand that energy and how it flows is huge. Yeah.
Yeah. And for that, so there is no better or worse. I think it's just different types.
Yes.
And then when it also gets interesting, not to only know yourself, but with other people, or with your partner, for instance. If your partner is a completely different type than you, then it might be a little bit tricky. But on the other hand, we are supplementing each other.
Yes, exactly. We communicate energetically first and foremost. So people say body language and all that. It's energy. We communicate energetically first and foremost. And if our design is a map of our energy, which it is, we are literally completing one another. We are turning each other on and off depending on who we're with, activating each other. And that's why we're going to have different reactions when we're with different people. You ever meet somebody and you're like, oh, I just could hang out with them all day long. And you meet somebody else, you're like, no, thank you. I don't want to be around that person at all. And instead, what I love about design is that instead of going, oh, there must be something wrong with me, or there must be something wrong with them that I feel that way, because our mind will try to find something, and it will make something up that sounds really plausible. And that's how we get stories made up. It's like it starts as a pure energetic awareness, and then the mind comes in and says, well, because we're feeling this, there must be a reason. Let me find the reason. And it'll just find something or make something up. And then of course it sounds really reasonable. And then we start to live our life like that. And it's not even true. It just started as energy. So now whenever I feel that with somebody, I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. They're like, we just don't jive. Okay, moving on. Like no need to process it. No need to go, oh my God, there's something there for me to look at. There might be, or not, So
I think it's totally fascinating, and it's very helpful for yourself to find out who you are, how you function best, and in living together with other people. And that's what we are doing. We are social creatures here.
Yeah.
Kris, people can come to you and find exactly that out, who they are and what's best for them, how they can be better with their partners, what's best for them in their business.
Yep.
And how can they reach you?
Yeah, KrisProchaska.com. So KrisProchaska.com. You can find me there, and all the fun ways that I work with my clients as well.
I will write it in the show notes, definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
And we talked about that chart, and we didn't give an explanation so far.
Yeah.
I will put there a link where you can get your chart for free in English.
Yes.
And but you usually cannot do anything with it without explanations of a professional. Just let me warn you up front.
Yeah, exactly. Although I do have, I do have some sort of light, sort of introductory programs that are sort of like, hey, here's what you're looking at. Here's what you're looking at on your chart. I have this little treasure map that I created, especially for generator types. But it just lays out. So when you're looking at the chart, why, what do these mean? What am I looking at? And what's the importance of them? And that one's really fun. So this treasure map, and
then you will give me the possibility how people can get that, and I will put it in the show notes too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kris. It was my pleasure.
Oh, me too. And happy birthday, by the way. Tomorrow, as we're recording this, tomorrow is your birthday. I was looking at her chart, just popped it up for me, and I said, 57. That's activated for all of us today. And that is, so I said, your birthday must be right around here. So
you see, this woman knows what she's talking about. She didn't see my birth date.
Yeah, I didn't even see it. I just saw that 57. And which is all about intuitive clarity. So as far as somebody who is here to share her intuition and who operates through intuition, Klana is it. Like that is it's who you be in the world. And it is how you do what you do. It's the magic that you share with your clients. That's why it's so fun to just see what shows up. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, if you liked this episode, please go and like it wherever you are listening or watching it. And you can subscribe as well. Hope to see you on the next episode. Bye-bye. And thank you, Kris.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Klana. Remember to follow us on social media and get connected. Visit our website, conversationswithklana.com, for show notes and additional episodes. And if you like this broadcast, please share it with your friends to help us empower more women to live an authentic and happy life and make this world a better place for everyone.